It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.
Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday. We are post UFC Madison Square Garden, and there is so much to talk about. Yours truly, Elle Dawson, and to my right, I think, Gillian the Savage Robertson. What's up, G?
What is up? But not a bad night of fights last night.
No, I don't have many complaints. I have one, but it was expected, so I think that's fair.
I think the co-main event and the main event could have been a little bit more eventful. They were both very dominant victories. I think they both kind of went along very much of the same path of like one person just controlled 90% of the time, and I just would have liked to see that person take more risks and try to finish the fight and do more damage. And I just would have liked to see a little bit more from the person who was controlling so dominantly.
We will get to this, Jake. Keep your pants on. Don't you worry. I do want to give Islam a little bit more credit and grace here than I'm giving to Valentina, because I think there's a lot of layers to this main event, and we should just get into it right away because there's so much to talk about and we only have an hour. So I feel like Jack was very prepared for aspects of Islam's game, but I think whether they just had the wrong game plan on the feet or whether it was executed improperly, I do think a lot of things he was doing led to maybe some stalemates on the ground. He was so prepared to defend the Darce, which is not a bad plan because Islam, as we know, has arguably the best Darce in the world. Like, it is so difficult to deal with once he gets his hand locked and once he has that forearm grip, it's pretty much over. And so he was so adamant to make sure he was defending the Darce. I think it didn't allow him to create the same scrambles that he was able to create against Bilal, because he was very scared of that front headlock position, which rightfully so. And I will say I commend him for later in the fight. Did give up his back a couple of times to try and get back to the feet. But I don't think he ever fully committed to giving up the back to build up. He would give up the back, and then Islam would start to throw hooks in. And instead of like, I'm going to peel a hook, I'm going to try to fight, he was like, oh, I better go back to my back because now I'm in danger from the back control, you know? And I would have liked to see him commit a little bit harder to some of those positions. Obviously, Islam is world-class. He is world-class on the ground. And he was threatening the Darce. He was doing at least some damage, and we'll get to the co-main event. I was more impressed with Islam for sure than I was with Valentina.
Yeah. Personally, I don't like giving up my back to get up. So I'm like, I was happy with, not obviously he could have done more. JDM could have done more, but I'm like, I think he had some like right ideas. With Islam, it does pose such a huge threat with his front headlock, like how strong he is there. You see with so many people, they go to get the underhook to get up, and that's his way to go to it instantly every single time. JDM was reaching across to the far wrist and trying to use that to get up. I loved that idea, switching to the butterfly after that. In the first round, he created like one or two good scrambles trying to do that, and I feel like he had some like good ideas in the beginning and then just got away from them because Islam just stayed on him with the pressure and was just able to control when he did get to the scrambles. And even sometimes I feel like JDM, like you said, I feel like he wasn't, I don't know, he was content once he got to like more of a wrestling to position to still wrestle almost. Like he wasn't trying to push away as hard, where he was still like content to still hold there for a second almost, or like still engage in a grappling kind of situation. And he was definitely making himself way too available to be found and getting taken down into these grappling situations, which I think was the biggest issue of it all, is that he wasn't able to inflict his own game. He wasn't able to get anything off on his own. He was just kind of frozen on the feet because he wasn't able, like he was just getting taken down so easily. And I don't know, I feel like you see that a lot with the striker versus grappler. I'm like, it really just shut down his game of his dominant striking, just the way that Islam was getting his takedowns.
No, and Islam's shot is just elite, like so fast, so well timed. But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like JDM was just so stuck in the mud. I don't know if because he he ate a lot of really hard calf kicks very early. I think that was a beautiful game plan decision from Islam's camp to just immediately attack that calf. And I don't know if I saw Jack check a single one. And so he definitely was wearing that damage early. And maybe that contributed some to him being stuck in the mud. But even later, like when he's throwing his punches, he wasn't even bringing his feet with him later in the fight. He was just really trying to overextend because he was so afraid of bringing his feet with him. But I don't think that's how you fight good wrestlers. Like we've had this conversation before, if you're fighting a good wrestler, you take the Natalia Silva approach. You move your feet. You make yourself hard to track down. And we just didn't really see him doing that. And also, yeah, like you said, the decision to dig an underhook instead of framing, creating space, trying to land an elbow. I also feel like he maybe underestimated Islam's clinch a little bit. Like I think JDM expected to be able to be the better guy in the clinch. And we didn't necessarily see that. He landed a few good shots, but you could see how strong Islam was in the clinch and like the knees and the way he was attacking that. I definitely think he expected to be the better guy in those positions.
Okay, and like with the later rounds, I really feel like we kind of lost JDM after it was somewhere between round 2 and round 3. I'm like mentally he checked out, and like I think it was in the 5th round. His coach came out and was like, even like he was like, wipe that look off your face. Like you could just see it. He was just not there, like frustrated. Just I feel like he probably already felt shut down at that point, and I don't think we saw him mentally in the fight after. It was somewhere in like halfway in round 2, in round 3, somewhere around there.
That's why like I say I'm a little disappointed in this fight. I wanted to see a fight. And I do think there was a better Jack Della Maddalena that we probably didn't get to fully see. But I also like, there was just issues with the game plan. He's standing right in front of Islam. He's not moving his feet a lot. Really wide stance too in a couple positions, which just made the calf kick even easier. And I know you disagree here. We talked a little bit about this, but I like the whole octopus guard position. Like after a while, like you got to try something new, whether it's give up the front headlock while just get like a good, strong wrist control and try to give up the front headlock. Like we said, he did give up the back a couple of times. Would have liked to see him commit to it more. I'm a fan of that escape, except for when I'm going with Gillian. But I don't mind giving up my back to create some space and get to my feet, especially if I'm near the cage, which he was, at least for some of the wrestling exchanges. I would have liked to see him use the cage a little bit more. But yeah, that the octopus guard was what later in the fight, like Islam's like crossface, and it just didn't do anything for him at that point.
Yeah, I feel like I was a fan of like what he had for plan A. Once we went to plan B, C, and D, we started trailing off a little bit,
there.
Where I'm like, he had his first options were good, and then once Islam shut him down, he just was like, all right, what next, and just started reaching out of his grab bag, just trying to find something that would work. But on the Islam side of it, I'm like, I just wish I could have seen more from you damage wise, from you submission attempt wise, from you trying to finish the fight wise, because you did put on such a dominant performance for I want to say the control time was like 19 minutes in a 25-minute fight. Like at that point, you need to take a little bit of a risk and just try to finish the fight.
And don't get me wrong, striking is scary. I want to be on the ground, but there was really no, Jack wasn't putting Islam in danger on the feet either. So it's not like Islam's like, I have to keep him down or I might get knocked out. Like, obviously, that's always a possibility, but Jack was so stuck in the mud, just so tentative with his striking later in the fight. I feel like Islam definitely could have opened up a little more. And it's like, well, if I lose the takedown, I can get one whenever I want.
Yeah, so I was going to say, the takedowns were coming so easy. It's like, what was there to be scared of? It's like, he gets back up, I'll take him right back down. Like, it was coming just effortlessly to him over and over again. I would just like to, especially if you are at a bigger weight class, you don't have to cut the weight. You say you can push the pace. I'm like, let's see it.
That being said, we need to address that because there were so many question marks coming into this fight, at least for me. And I feel like we can finally say that any asterisks that was on Islam's career at 155 was due to the weight cut. His first fight with Volkanovski, weight cut. Like Dustin Poirier looked really good through much of their fight. I think the weight cut really affected Islam substantially. Like he just looks so good at welterweight. Like he was massive. No question at all that he was too small for this division.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just the performances. I'm like, I feel like this one, if maybe because of the size difference, that's why he didn't want to let JDM up as much, why he wasn't taking as much opportunity, you know? I'm like, he is fighting a bigger, stronger guy at this point too. So I'm like, maybe that is what makes it easier to stand up with these guys because they're not hitting half as hard because they're tinier, you know, like whatever. I'm like, I feel like we just saw a very tentative fight from Islam last night. So it makes me debate too on that.
I absolutely disagree with this. This is not the fight we need. We do not need to be eliminating prospects at this point. We need to be getting them title shots because there's so many exciting like title fights that can happen in this division right now. So I mean, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up right now. But I think everybody forgot maybe how insane the top 10 of this is right now, because I certainly did. We were watching the fight. We're like, yeah, we've got, Michael Morales is fighting Sean Brady. You had Carlos Prates fighting Leon Edwards. And we're like, we were like, oh, winner of Sean Brady and Michael Morales gets the next title shot. And then winner of Prates and Edwards should fight the loser of tonight's fight, right? Which I'm still for, to be completely honest with you. Michael Morales just looked so phenomenal against Sean Brady, who I think very highly of. I think Brady's a very complete fighter. And I think that makes, with Brady's wrestling style, that makes the Islam matchup enticing to me for Morales. I will say I think Islam may be a little bit sharper on the feet than Sean Brady, poses some very different threats for sure. But I'm still really excited to see that. But we can't forget that Bilal Muhammad is fighting Ian Gary soon. We can't forget that Shavkat exists. So there is so much happening in this division right now. I would love to see Michael Morales fight for a title, but I mean, and I will have to see where they put him after, because obviously the rankings have not been, we will get to Ilya too, AZ boy. Don't you worry. There's so much to talk about here. But they're obviously the rankings have not been updated since yesterday. So we'll have to see where they put Michael Morales after this weekend, where they put Carlos Prates. Personally, I would love to see Prates fight JDM. I think that's a dope fight. I think that would be an absolute blast. And I'd love to see how Morales, he's just so big, so long. And can he fight with the same reckless abandon that he has been against a guy like Islam? There's my full rant. But what do you want to see with this whole top 10 right now, Ju?
Michael Morales came out guns blazing. Like, dude, like you said, absolute reckless abandonment. Just comes out hard, fast. Like, dude, he's definitely an issue. But like I don't know. The Carlos Prates and JDM fight, I think, is an absolute
banger.
Absolute amazing fight. The way that Prates was able to drop Edwards last night, just that straight left hand after Edwards had such a good first round too. I thought it was like we saw it differently on Edwards, where he was more forward pressure, trying to push the pace, got 2 takedowns, and then I don't know what it was in the second round. It looked like he just like came out a different fighter. I think like the commentators made a little comment about this. Prates was talking a lot of shit, as we see here. And I think there was something about that maybe like got him away from his game plan a little bit. It was very short in the second round, but Prates just really looked like a different fight coming out in that first minute in the second round.
Yeah. I want to say, I think Leon came in with a great game plan. I think he was well prepared. And I think this is exactly how you should fight Carlos Prates. The issue is Carlos Prates is so confident that he will eventually knock you out that he doesn't care if he loses this first round. And I think we saw this kind of this be a problem for him in the Gary fight, where he was content to wait for his shot because he he had so much time. He was like, oh, eventually I'll get him, right? And obviously it didn't work out that way. And then we saw him realize he was running out of time, and we saw a totally different Carlos Prates later in that fight. But man, he's just so confident that he's going to be able to get to, like, he's going to find his shot, that I don't think he minds having a slow first round, you know?
I think it is something that what you see with a lot of people who are precision strikers too. That they typically do have that slow first round just to kind of get their eyes right, get to like see where they need to be, see what they need to pinpoint, and then like when you do see them open up, I think like Topuria is kind of like that a little bit too sometimes, where he is a little bit slower at first, but then once he opens up, it's like, oh wow, like this dude's connecting clean every single time. Like just anybody who's a very precise striker, I feel like sometimes have to take a little minute to make their reads, but then once they do, it's super impressive to watch, and that's what we were able to see last night.
And he almost like stepped through to opposite stance to land that straight. Like he went through Leon Edwards' face with that shot. Like just
his feet came off the floor.
It's like you breaking all the striking rules, but the power and the precision that he had in that shot was just so impressive. But there's just so much you can do in this division right now. I don't even know what I want to see next. We have, I think, and also how good is Ian Gary from the way he performed against Carlos Prates? So now he's him in this title shot argument.
This whole division is just crazy right now. Like you said last night, I wasn't even thinking, because I was like, oh, Prates, a performance like that, like over Leon Edwards, maybe you're in the talks now. And then I was like, oh wait, Ian Gary just beat him. And like you said, I forgot he even existed before this. And then he has a fight against Bilal, which I'm like, no doubt that's a title shot. But I'm like,
that should be a title eliminator.
Yeah, and I guess you could also say, depending on the performance, what if you can take Michael Morales' performance and put it over however Ian Gary and Bilal's fight goes? Like, I don't know.
I don't expect Gary to starch Bilal Muhammad. I definitely think that's a more grinding fight. But it's also a much higher ranked win.
And it's like in the UFC too, it also plays into like who's getting the more star power at the time, who has more eyes. So I'm like, I don't know. There is so much that plays into this.
I was literally about to bring this up too. Sorry, finish what you were saying.
No, I was 100% forgetting Usman too. I'm like, another absolute dog in the division.
No, and I honestly, I think Usman and Shavkat provide a piece of the game that maybe other guys in the top 10 do not against Islam, where Usman has elite wrestling as well. He is obviously older, and I wish we could see prime Usman fight this Islam right here at welterweight. Like that would just be unbelievable. But and Shavkat might present those issues as well, you know. So I don't even know. I don't know who gets the next title shot. I know somebody asked about Ilya. I said we would talk about it. Ilya is so good. Did you see that man yesterday? There's no way Ilya is big enough to beat that Islam at 170, to come up to 170. That man is massive. This isn't a 10-pound jump. This is a 15-pound jump. This is a 25-pound jump from Ilya's original weight class. I can't see it. Can you?
I thought he was going to be tiny for 55. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't see him jumping up to 170 and being able to be, I don't know, like you said, a good size for it. I think that Islam is going to absolutely dwarf him. Even, I don't see a way for like a clear victory for Topuria in this.
I'm with you. Wait, why is this my background? I swear I changed it. I just realized that it was yellow. It doesn't matter. I was like, this isn't my morning brew background. I just can't see it. Yes, obviously he has that knockout ability, but Islam is just massive. And to see the timing on the shots, and also he looked so sharp on the feet. He's so comfortable there. Like, I don't care what Khabib's camp says. Islam is better than Khabib. I used to make the argument the other way. No, he's better.
Oh no,
the
100%.
ability on the feet, like, is just
No, even Khabib last night in the corner the whole time was screaming for Islam to wrestle, and I'm like, he's looking good on the feet. Let him be, you know. Like he's striking really good, and like probably getting more like finishing opportunities there. So, but Khabib like was like screaming at him, wrestle, wrestle, wrestle the whole time.
No, yeah, sure, but I don't disagree with this, but like, man, I feel like the resume just gets better and better and better for Islam. Like, has already fought like the other pound for pound number one guy. Obviously, like, sure, give him Ilya. Apparently, CXMS really wants to see Ilya get beat up. I mean, like, I'm not saying don't do it. It's a huge fight. Of course, I'm gonna tune in to watch that. I just can't see him. I just can't see him beating Islam. He's just looked massive. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think somebody said something earlier that I thought was totally on target. Yes, styles make fights, and I don't disagree. I think Prates has the sharpness to catch Morales perhaps on the way in if he doesn't get caught himself first. But yeah, I think Morales probably has a better chance against Islam just because Prates doesn't cut as much weight. He's not as big. He's not as physical. I think he would lack in the grappling department while Morales is. There's no way that man is 6 foot tall. He's at least 6'3". Like at least 6'3". He looked so much bigger than Brady.
The second I saw Prates win, I was like, if Islam wins, I'm like, that fight, it would be a terrible matchup. Like Islam versus Prates, I just see that like going very quick. Like you said, even the way that Leon Edwards was able to just take him down twice pretty effortlessly, I don't see Islam having much issues with being able, especially in the first round, with Prates having a slower start, being able to get his takedown, start being able to work on the ground and find like Darce, Anaconda, you know, like work front headlock stuff. I see it being a quick fight for Islam if that was the case.
No, I don't disagree with you. It's just like we said, there's so much you can do at this weight class right now. And it's not that I don't want to see Ilya and Islam, because like I said, that's a huge fight. Of course I tune in for it. I just think there are so many exciting matchups right now in the actual welterweight division. I'm content just watching those. I'm content watching everybody in the top 10 try to beat Islam right now.
No, I'm like you said, like they're just the matchups that are the possibility to make right now. I'm like that was one of my arguments with Weili going up. I'm like, she still has work to do down at 115. I'm like, there's still girls to challenge her. Virna was waiting. That somebody else is going to be waiting. Mackenzie Dern, obviously now the new champion, would have also been another matchup for her. I'm like, there was just too many contenders. I'm like, Islam has a bunch of contenders now. Like, let's get them fighting those guys.
No, I 100% agree. I don't need more super fights right now. Like, I just want to see him clear out this division. And if he can, like, no, then you can't. If he clears out the best division in the UFC right now, and I don't think anybody can argue that that's welterweight. He's better than Khabib. I'm sorry. That one blemish on his record to Adriano Martins in 10 years ago, guys. 10 years ago. Like, that means nothing if he clears out this division, because this division is young. Like, most of the top 10's under 30. Like, they are young, they're talented, super well-rounded, and huge. Like, if he beats all these guys, it's, yeah. We need to move on. We gave Islam 25 minutes. Well-deserved. This was the funniest thing ever when they mixed up Adriano Martins with Pantoja. It's like Pantoja knocked out Islam. I don't think that's quite right. Anyway, they don't even look alike. So we got to talk about the co-main. I'm not surprised. This is what I expected. I think whoever a couple weeks ago told me I was crazy and Weili wasn't that much smaller than Valentina. I'm sorry, what? Like, she looked like a little kid next to Valentina. That Valentina wasn't even like, those weren't real takedowns. Those were just, I'm just going to big brother you to the mat. And she did it with ease. Like, anytime she was able to get her hands connected, she just picked up Weili and it was over. The height difference, the strength was so obvious to me the second they were face to face in the octagon. And I don't think this was an issue of her being substantially better fighter than Weili, like technique wise. Obviously she was the better fighter, but I think a huge piece of that was the size difference. A huge piece of that. And Weili did the right things early in the fight. You know, she created some scrambles. She got back to her feet a few times. But I think you saw a similar story. You were talking about JDM just kind of breaking, maybe around round 3. I think we saw Weili. Now, that third round, Weili was doing really well, and I thought she was winning the round by just staying long, using her athleticness, her in and out movement. I thought she was winning the striking exchanges. And to be honest, that was the most exciting part of the fight. But man, just as soon as she got taken down again, you saw her stop trying to create the space. You saw her start to be okay with closing her guard. And at that point, like you said about Islam, Valentina should have been opening up, just landing huge strikes.
And where I guess I would, I don't know, argue against that is I feel like JDM had, like I said, he had like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, whereas like he had options where I'm like, I don't feel like Weili had options from there. I feel like she looked very limited off of her back. And that's where I'm like, I've honestly, I've thought this a lot in the 115-pound division too. I'm like, I don't think she's necessarily the most well-versed grappler. I don't think she's like great once you are in grappling exchanges. I think that even coming back down to the 115 division right now, who is in the top is kind of a dangerous group for her, you know, having Virna, having me, having Mackenzie Dern. I'm like, these girls are all heavy grapplers. Obviously saw her dominate Tatiana, but I'm like, Tatiana hasn't been able to successfully use her grappling in that fight and the one after now. So I'm like, we haven't really seen, I guess, impressive performances from her as of late, where I'm like, I think that in the grappling realm, Weili's always going to have issues. Where we see her great performances against like Rose Namajunas and Joanna and these great strikers who are going to engage in that game with her a little bit more. But I think that there obviously the size advantage was clear, but I also think it was just a lack of options, a lack of technique Weili had to get up, to create the scrambles, to get back to her guard and start working from there. I feel like she just looked very limited once she was on her back.
Yeah. No, and I don't disagree with that. I do wonder how much of that was a size issue. Just not being able to elevate as a very small person. I know what that's like. Where, hey, when I go with 105ers, I can do things. And then when I go with somebody substantially bigger, it's just not, the same techniques just aren't there, you know? I don't think Weili needs to retire. I think she needs to come back down, like you said, and finish what she started at 115. I think there are plenty of fights for her there. And I do think I'm with you here, Izzy, where it's like, it does kind of hold up the division a little bit because, of course, if Weili wants to come back down to 115, of course she deserves an immediate title shot because she didn't lose her belt. She went up, you know, she relinquished it. Like, so I think it's that makes the sense, and that makes sense for her to get that shot. And it does kind of hold up the division a little bit, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, like somebody's going to be calling for that shot in 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that I would love to be able to get that shot and then give Weili her time after.
No, that's fair. I'm interested to see how soon she wants to fight too, because if you're before her,
yeah, she typically only fights like once a year too. So I'm like, maybe that could be the timeline for things. Because honestly, I would love Weili. Like, I guess selfishly for me, I'm like, for my legacy, having a win over somebody like Weili, I feel like it would just mean so much more versus she's just such a legend in the sport. I'm like, I feel like it is an exciting fight to have, especially I'm like, I don't think this fight was boring because of her. I think that, you know, I think that me and her would have an exciting fight and we would have a great fight, and I would absolutely love for her to come back down, but I want to get Mackenzie first.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think it makes the division, it just makes the division better. Like, I don't think people were as excited when Weili went up about the the title fight between Dern and Verna, which it was a good fight, but I think everybody knows that Weili right now, as of right now, obviously not as of 2026, but as of right now, Weili's the best at 115 out of everybody who's at 115 because Rose went up. So she's the best one there. And so it's when the best person in your division isn't there, it definitely, it just makes the belt seem a little lackluster, right?
No, it's the same whenever like Amanda relinquished the belt and then Juliana Pena had it. And now after Kayla won it, now it's like everybody needs to see Kayla versus Amanda to really make sure that she won that belt, you know? Exactly. Nobody, because Amanda was gone whenever Kayla won it. So I'm like, it's the same kind of thing. If I beat Mackenzie Dern, I'm like, I would need Weili to come back down to really like solidify that in my head.
Yeah. And this is like, people are talking about Valentina going up, which if anybody should go up, like, because there's not exciting matchups for her, it's probably more Valentina than it was Weili. And I mean, we did kind of already see this though, right? Like she fought Amanda Nunes more than once. She wasn't, and they were great fights. That Valentina, like she can't fight the same way. She's older. She fights more reserved. She fights very smart and it's very effective. But I don't know that she could fight Kayla with the style she has now, you know?
Oh no, like especially if she's going to try to grapple Kayla, there's absolutely no way. I'm like, she would need to. It's like you can say that, but I'm like also on the striking. It's not like she's looked like she's lost anything. I'm like, I just feel like she doesn't want to strike almost anymore. She looked like she was catching Weili heavy. I'm like, even that first knee to the stomach, she like got a takedown with it. I'm like, it was nasty. I'm like, her striking still looks crisp. She just doesn't want to, I feel like, anymore. Obviously it's a more dangerous route. You're putting yourself at risk more. I'm like, but she looked good on the feet. That's what I really wish she stayed on the feet more because I think she could have finished Weili. She had a lot of times where she caught her with big strikes. Where you see Weili circling for a second, she looked hurt. Where Valentina just pushed the pace a little bit more in that time period. I think she could have got a finish.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think she would have to take risks if she was going to go up to 135. I mean, there's girls she can beat at 135. Like we've talked about, 135 is definitely not the deepest it's ever been. But is she winning a belt right now? I don't know. I don't think so. I think she's kind of stuck right now at flyweight. And there's just, yeah, I mean, I think the Natalia Silva fight obviously makes sense. She was there. They probably want that to happen. I don't know how excited I am for that fight. I just feel like a lot of the Valentina fights are going to look the same. Are they dominant? Is it impressive? Absolutely. Is it must-see TV? Not really.
The Blanchfield fight might be a little bit more interesting.
Agreed.
Because I'm like, I think that like Blanchfield, obviously in the grappling situations, is going to have more answers for that. So I think that Valentina's probably going to have to force to use her striking to win the fight. I don't think she's going to be able to just control Erin on the ground or even get her takedowns in the same way that she's been able to get. So I think that Blanchfield is a potentially more exciting fight. Obviously in Blanchfield, she knows how to make a fight ugly, but she also leaves herself open a lot. So I'm like, could be a big opportunity for Valentina or a big opportunity for Blanchfield. But I think that one's kind of an interesting matchup. The Silva fight, I'm like, honestly, I'm like, Natalia Silva, I'm like, she's got the best style to beat me, and maybe that's why I don't like it. But I'm like, I'm never excited about somebody who's going to play on the outside and point fight. But I'm like, it's a smart way to fight. It wins fights.
No, and she's world-class at it. She's very good at it. And I will say when she does land her bigger shots, she does damage. It's just the rest of the fight's just not super exciting while she's looking.
Not enough.
And so I will say this, I think with Blanchfield, I agree. I'm not sure if her striking is complete enough yet to take on Valentina, but at least there's so much danger in these grappling exchanges. Like you saw Erin Blanchfield, and she makes such good adjustments in fights. She's so good at adjusting in fight. She was like, Tracy has better wrestling than me, which she did. Like there was a point where I was like, oh, maybe Tracy just has Erin's number because she can wrestle, you know? And Erin's got her on the cage and she's like, all right, I'm not taking her down. I think I'm just going to attack the neck here while we're standing and just kind of like sit her back. And Tracy was like, oh, I can get on top in this exchange. So I'm going to go down with you. And Erin's attacking the neck with no hooks and almost like her legs inside Tracy's leg, like weird positions to be attacking the neck from, but she's so comfortable being able to be dangerous in those areas that she's willing to take those risks. And if nothing else, we've been talking about fighters we want to see take risks. Erin Blanchfield will always take a risk for a choke.
And well, that's kind of that position of, I feel like Tracy was kind of giving up her back to get up. And that's why I'm not a fan of that. I'm like, I think that like, that is such a big opportunity. Like that is what I play my game off of a lot. I'm like, I punch you in the face. The second you get up to give me your back, I'm going to take your throat. I'm like, that's just, and like, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, girls don't even want to get up right now. They just give me the TKO. But I'm like, if you are going to get up and give your back, I'm like, I'm going to hop on that choke every single second. It doesn't matter if I have hooks in. It doesn't matter where my body position is. As long as I can get my hand and my head where it needs to be, I've got it finished 100%. And like, I was a huge fan of that with Erin. Like, she had a little bit of a different grip than what I like, but I'm like, still, it's something that I feel like you traditionally don't see people go for because everybody is so brainwashed in jujitsu. You need to get your hooks in. You have to get your hooks in. You got to get your hooks in. And it's like, you don't have to get your hooks in to get the choke. You can just hop on that and it's there. It's just, I don't know what it is with traditional jujitsu where it's like, that's what you have to do it first. And people just can't get out of that mindset. So they miss the opportunity so much. There's so many fights I'm watching somebody like give up their back, try to stand up. I'm like, the choke's there. Go for it. And they're just like giving up their neck the whole time. Because in wrestling, that's what we teach too, is whenever you get up, you look at the sky. You give up your neck.
You have to have submission over position, Erin. Girls going for it. CXMS, if we're going to do a super fight for Islam, this is the super fight I want to see, is Islam and Khamzat. That's what I want to see because I actually don't know what happens there. Yeah, I really don't. I think Islam's better, but Khamzat's wrestling might be actually better. Like it's and I agree with you. I think the only guy right now that can be a 3-division champ is Khamzat. Like he's got the size, he's got the style. He takes such little damage. Like we have so much, and here it is. We can't get through a show. Couldn't possibly without talking about the lovely Dakota Ditcheva. This fight's not happening for years, guys. I think we need to accept that. Dakota's re-upped with PFL for a couple more years. We'll get it eventually. But this is an example of someone, I agree, who would make Valentina fight her. Like you can't wait when you're fighting Dakota.
Well, even like that's why I think with like the Erin Blanchfield even, I think that she's gonna, like we saw when she fought Rose. Rose, I feel like, is a cleaner striker than Erin. But Erin still brought the fight to her and made it like an ugly fight and posed a lot of problems for Rose. So I wonder if we would see kind of a similar situation with the Valentina thing of her just making it such like an ugly fight and taking her out of that clean technical thing, like flow that she likes.
Yeah. Dude, she's not going to be out of her prime. She's like 26. Like fighters aren't in their prime until they're like 31. Like we got time, guys. Calm down. Like
Valentina and Weili don't. They're on the end. The little bit. Yeah, Valentina doesn't have the time to wait for Dakota.
Valentina's how old?
I think 37.
Yeah, and she's the best possibly female fighter right now active in the UFC. Like she's the number 1 pound for pound woman in the UFC, and she's 37. Like we got plenty of time, guys. Plenty of time. And I honestly don't remember how old Dakota is. She's in her mid-20s. She's not even close to 30 yet. We got time. How would Prime? Oh, this I would have loved to see. Prime Usman and Islam. I have no idea. Like him at his healthiest before his knees started to go. I would have loved that. That would have been such an amazing fight.
No, yeah, that's why I'm like, I think we just haven't seen like somebody said earlier, what about Usman? I'm like, I feel like we just haven't seen him enough lately. We saw him with the Buckley fight. Before that, I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't been in the picture.
I don't think he can be. I don't think he can be active anymore. I think he has to take his time between fights. Because you can see even in fights where he looks phenomenal, like the Buckley fight, you can definitely see his movement has suffered from the knee injuries and just the wear and tear on his knees. Like he doesn't bounce like he used to. He doesn't move quite like he used to, and he's still world class. Like Buckley had no answers for him. I do think this is like this shows us a lot about what may happen in the Blanchfield Valentina fight. Is just what we saw in the Fior fight. I do think Erin, like you said, she is willing to make the fight dirty, but she definitely leaves her defense open quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Her teammate, sorry, I'm trying to unclick things, and it's just like, her teammate Fatima Klein, I thought looked really good. I know you said you thought Angela did better than you expected, but I mean, I feel like Fatima, she's only had like 2 UFC fights now, 2 or 3. This was her third.
Yeah, I think this is her 3rd or 4th. I'm not 100% sure on that.
So I feel like for where she's at and just how much cage time Angela Hill has had, I was really impressed with Fatima. I thought she fought really well. She was a dog in the striking. I was impressed with that. I expected her to be a little bit more weary on the feet, just because I think of her as a grappler, but I thought she looked really good everywhere.
No, I guess, I don't know. I expected that fight to finish sooner. Like I expected Fatima to just kind of go out there and steamroll Angela. I was surprised Angela had a dog in that fight. I was surprised that I gave the 3rd round to Angela. I was surprised that she won a round, and I think one or two of the judges did too.
Yeah.
Where, I'm like the 1st round, it was 100% Fatima's. 2nd round, Angela started coming back at the end of the 2nd round. And I was like, I bet you she wins the 3rd. And I feel like she came out pretty strong in the 3rd. And I just think like I said, I didn't think she had a dog in that fight at all. I think she just fought like a vet, which, like you said, obviously has like 7 hours of cage time, I think, at this point. So she showed that.
Is her UFC record currently.
What?
13-16 is Angela Hill's current UFC record.
Yeah, so 1 million fights, and all of them have went to decision pretty much. So I'm like, she gets the full 15 minutes or 25 every single time. And yeah, I expected Fatima to be able to finish it. And the only, I guess, like negative I would say for Fatima that let Angela stay in the fight too much is Fatima, like, she throws her punches, she commits hard, and then she stays in front of you. She just doesn't move her feet after she throws her punches. So it just allows Angela to counter her every single time. So it just seemed like she was too content with you go, I go, you go, I go, where her punches were still definitely
harder.
Yeah, and faster. But I think she let Angela stay in the fight too much. She stayed in front of her too much.
No, I think this is really fun. This might be a little much too soon for Fatima. I'm not sure. Lupi's got a lot of cage time, a lot of experience, good wrestling. She's tough, gritty, but she does slow down. We've seen her slow down. Yeah, I don't know that I would have given her the 3rd round, but I definitely feel like she did better in the 3rd. I don't know. I feel like when you see somebody like Angela Hill that's just never gets finished, it's hard for me to like discount somebody for not finishing the girl that never gets finished. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold my stock on Fatima Klein and wait to see how she progresses in the division before I make my assessment.
I'm trying to see. Fatima versus Amanda Hubas would be interesting.
I think that's a good matchup for Fatima too, just because Hubas will fight, but tends to leave a lot of openings.
Yeah. No, and they kind of have a similar-ish style. Both, I feel like, aggressive strikers and are very well versed on the ground too.
And I think Fatima might be a little sharper on the feet, a little bit younger, a little faster.
I think Amanda Hubas has all the tenacity. She just doesn't make the smartest decisions all the time. She sometimes makes a little bit poor fight IQ decisions and puts herself in bad positions where I think Fatima would be able to capitalize. But I think that'd be an exciting matchup.
No, I would really like to see it, and I'm just impressed with her. She just reminds me of a younger, like newer Erin Blanchfield, with maybe a little bit crisper on the strikes. She was popping her. I'm definitely interested to see her move forward. I feel like we need to touch a little bit on the prelims. We didn't even talk about BSD, who won
in 16 seconds.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I broke my heart. I love Benil. I think he's a great human being, great fighter. And man, like I thought he looked really good for the 16 seconds. And I just the chin, I think the chin is going.
Oh yeah, no, I think it is gone. And I was literally like you said, I'm like he threw 2 strong leg kicks to start. And I was like, yes, Betty, yes, Betty. No, what happened?
I was like, no, it's over. And you can't like, it's a good stoppage. You can't face plant in the canvas like that and keep fighting.
Oh no, I'm like, I was, like I said, just so hyped. Like, all right, good start. Good start for Penny. And then the after the 15 seconds ended, I regretted what I was thinking.
No, it was a bummer for me. And I think seeing the issues with the weight cut, which he usually does not struggle with, he's usually pretty on point. Seeing the issues with the weight cut, I feel like the writings might be on the wall for Benny, which sucks because he looked so good fighting Moicano a couple months ago. I thought that was like, he just maybe peaked that night and yeah, I'm sad for him. But I do
with the old dogs.
Or just let Grant fight him.
Let him fight him. Yeah.
Fight him. But yeah, bummer. Love Benny. Dude, Bo Nickel coming back to prove the haters wrong. What a performance. And I think Rodolfo is a guy that doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. While he does slow down every single fight, those first 2 rounds, he is a heck of a grappler. He hits hard and he's a dog. And Bo was just looked sharp on the feet, picking him apart. I happy to see him come back after the RDR loss, which I think we can agree has not aged too badly.
No, it definitely hasn't. But I'm like, I think Rodolfo is an ideal matchup for Bo as well. You know,
a little slower on the feet.
Being an older like jiu-jitsu guy versus someone who is a wrestler, I'm like, you're not expecting necessarily to get into his realm. You're able to play on the striking where Rodolfo isn't well versed either, you know? So I'm like, I thought it looked, until Bo had his moment, I thought it looked a little bit low level. I'm like, it looked like a low level striking battle. It looked like we saw 2 grapplers trying to strike with each other. And then obviously he was able to catch him with that absolutely like baseball bat of a head kick in the 3rd round. The sound of that was disgusting. But yeah, for me, I'm like, the first 2 rounds, I'm like, I just thought it looked like two grapplers trying to strike with each other.
Which we see a lot, to be honest. You get 2 grapplers, and like Rodolfo is a like we can call him a jiu-jitsu guy, but he has great wrestling. Like in most of his fights, that wrestling's not adding up against Bo Nickel, you know. And we saw him try for it. It just wasn't there. And so we do see that honestly quite often, where you get 2 grapplers that can't take each other down, or maybe don't want to, and they just strike. And I think this was the RDR was too much too soon for Bo Nickel. But the UFC has just pushed him so fast. And he obviously has the wrestling accolades, but you need the time to develop in the cage too. So I'm happy to see him getting that, because I think that's what Bo needs, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. He definitely needs the time to grow. And I'm like, it's not bad for him to be on the prelims. It's not bad for him to get the spots to be able to have opportunity. Like you said, not getting thrown into like an RDR fight for, what is it, his 3rd or 4th UFC fight? Like
fast. So fast. This fight needs to happen purely because I'm not sure which one is the evil twin, but they look like each other's evil twins. Like we cut like their faces in half and like pushed them together, and I couldn't tell like which one was which. It was quite hilarious. So we definitely need to see that fight eventually. Honestly, I wasn't overly impressed with Pfeiffer recently.
I'm trying to think of his last fight. I remember too that just him I remember him spamming the right hand over and over again and just not doing enough, essentially. I can't remember his last fight, though, completely.
Yeah, it wasn't like I expected him to look a little bit cleaner, to be honest. But everybody's allowed to have a bad night. The judges will have a hard time scoring Bo versus Pyfer. They won't be able to tell who's who. I think very highly of Joe Pyfer, so I expected a little bit more from him. But he's got a complete game. Dude can wrestle. He's big. He's physical. He's got power. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Maybe not right now, but I wouldn't mind seeing that fight eventually. Dude. Kopylov and Gregory Rodriguez was exactly what I thought it would be, which was a great freaking fight. Just a freaking banger. Honestly, that was like the most jiu-jitsu we've seen Gregory Rodriguez use in his entire UFC career. The dude that was like a jiu-jitsu phenom that came over and just started knocking everybody out. I'll always tune in to watch both of them fight. Like I just, no notes. Great fight.
Gregory Rodriguez took like 3 head kicks solid and was unfazed. Nothing happened. He just walked forward and kept on throwing strikes. I was like, this dude is just like made of metal. Like he absolutely is just a tank. Like nothing stops him coming forward except his cardio. The third round, his cardio slowed him down a little bit. I will say that.
Dude, but for how hard he throws everything, his cardio is actually pretty darn solid.
Yeah, everything he throws is absolutely like, 100% solid landing. And those first 2 rounds, I'm like, he is an absolute force of nature coming forward. But then in the third round, I'm like, you could see it a little bit where Kopylov came back a little bit in the third. And I think it was more due to that than anything else.
I want you to guess who was older between Gregory Rodriguez and Roman Kopylov.
That's a hard one. I feel like they would. I want to say Kopylov just because you're saying that. Because I'm like,
it is. That is the correct answer. The guy who looks like he's 24 is 34, and the guy who looks like he's 42 is actually 33 years old. Yeah. I did not know that until last night. I was like, no way Kopylov's older. But yeah, he is. I don't want to like, yeah, maybe, but it's the power and it's the consistency of Gregory Rodriguez's power. Like a lot of times you fight a guy like that throws everything and you just have to survive the first round and then you can start to like pick that, like we saw in the Malcolm Wallmaker fight. You know, I think we saw what happened. Like he wasn't ready for those rounds 2 and 3. But with Gregory Rodriguez, it's really hard to do this because he's so consistent with his volume and power.
Yeah, I just think he couldn't match that pressure either. It's like he needed to get Rodriguez on his back foot, and it's like
get respect. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that's not an easy thing to be done, essentially. So I feel like it was just the pressure of Rodriguez constantly coming forward, constantly pushing the pace, that it's like it was hard for Kopylov to really get off in those first 2 rounds at all, or like commit to things, to even like really be committed to a lot of his strikes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a very hard task against a guy like RoboCop. Dude, Gillian and I are both huge Ethan Ewing fans now. Took the fight on 2 days' notice. His dirty boxing, his volume in the pocket, his little head movements. Like I'm a fan. I'm a fan of you, Ethan Ewing. Like, and I love Malcolm Wallmaker. I think he's a super talented kid. There's with just unbridled potential. But you definitely saw the tides change after that first round.
Okay, and it's like being brought in on 2 days' notice. Like you're expecting, essentially to be the B-side. Malcolm Wallmaker's is a pretty big up-and-coming star within this last year. I feel like he's had a couple big wins, couple big knockouts. He is just a very likable personality too. So I think he's really like a lot of people have fallen in love with him in this last year.
He's a great kid. He's got a great story.
So I'm like definitely someone who you expected to be the A side of the matchup that he's going into. Ethan gets signed on 2 days' notice. And from LA too. So I'm like, flies across the country, cuts weight, like everything is just so amazing. This kid took this opportunity. Apparently he just fought, I want to say last week or the week before too, because they were saying he was already in camp and then just fought. And so I'm like, he fought recently too. I'm like, just so many things against this kid. I honestly, nothing has made me madder than seeing that he didn't get a performance of the night.
I mean, but the people who did get him, like,
no, but I'm like, this kid just risked everything that went into this. How could you not give him 50K, Dana?
yeah, we are grandmas. We go to bed at like 9:30. Well, I do. She goes to bed like
7:30. Come on, guys.
We are indeed grandmas. And he is a kid. He's 27. I'm well over 30. Actually, he's more of a, I'm not well over 30.
I think Wellmaker's, isn't he 30?
Is he older than, I always think of him as like super young. He is
30. I think he's just got a baby face.
31. He does have it. See, that changes I do this sometimes. I think people are I did this to Edmund Shabazian. I thought Edmund Shabazian was so much older than he was. And so I expected more from him while he was still developing. And now he's like coming into his own. And I'm like pretty impressed. Maybe I should flip that a little bit on Wellmaker. Still super talented, but like, you're 31. You're probably mostly who you are going to be for the most part. There's room for improvement, but like, you're not going to have these like huge trajectories of growth when you're already 31.
No, I think last night kind of proved that he's going to be a fun guy on the roster for a while, but I don't think we're really going to see him make a title run. Like you said, at 31, like, you're not going to change too much, but he definitely belongs on the UFC roster, and he's definitely going to have fun fights there, I think.
I want to point this out. He was up a weight class, but he was fighting another guy who was also fighting up a weight class. So he was still fighting a guy his size. Still unbelievably impressive. But like, because I saw that too. I was like, wow. And I was like, wait, Wellmaker's a 35 or 2. So because it was so short notice, they just moved the fight up to 145. But yeah, this guy fought on Asia's card like last week.
Oh, that's awesome.
So literally, like, he fought November 7th.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah.
And you don't give him 50K.
I always love when there was one card, I want to say it was the Garcia fight, where Grant was like annihilated his face. And I was like, how did he not get a bonus? But then they gave it to like a debut kid. And it's like, oh, you can't be mad about that, you know? Like, it's so I remember Grant's first bonus, like that was life changing for us. Like that's when a new like a debut kid gets a bonus. That's got to be like, it's just the best.
Yeah.
But Dave wanted to get G on the watch along last night. Everybody knew it was past her bedtime. I did stay up to watch all the fights. I didn't want any spoilers. I wanted to had a first impressions, but it was very late.
I always watch them super early in the morning, so I guess I stay away from spoilers. I just wake up and like, I don't know, obnoxiously early, and then just
on TV.
Yeah, I don't touch my phone, and I just watch them on the TV. So like, I make sure I that's my live time.
I do. We didn't even talk about this fight. We didn't even talk about whatever his name is, Suba Kamzat's guy.
Or Dawkins getting another 50-second knockout, then submission. He dropped him and then went straight to the Dars, like an Islam Dars too, where he kind of like had the forearm. It was just beautiful.
Beautiful. This was a great fight, and I thought it was going to be. I do think Pat won. It was very close though. I just think the ground control.
No, I that whole fight, I was just like, let Chepe fight. Pat was just holding him down, and every time Chepe had a moment, he was fighting. And I'm like, I wanted to see more of a Chepe fight. I wanted to see him have more opportunities, and Pat was just holding onto the back the whole time. So I'm like, I was such a huge fan of Chepe in that fight and rooting for him the whole time because he was the one who was trying to finish the fight. He was the one who was trying to do damage. Pat was trying to control more. And I'm like, I'm just such a huge fan of that.
I got to say, though, like, at least Pat was, like, needed to control. You know, like, because you could see what happened when Chepe had his moments. Like, I respect that. Like, to have that much control over a guy that's as dangerous as Chepe, like, you got to respect that. But I'm a fan of both guys. They're both, like, just the nicest people and so talented. And honestly, Chepe has some really solid scrambles too, like early in the fight, like creating that space, like using, like almost sweeping him, like some really nice scrambles in that first round.
That's like every opportunity he had, whether it was on the when he was on the bottom, he was throwing elbows, throwing punches. Every opportunity he had to do damage, he was doing damage. He was trying to finish the fight. It's just Pat took away those opportunities for a majority of the fight by sitting on his back with his legs figure forward. It didn't do anything.
But the control, man, it just outweighed it. Everybody wants to know about Sisterkayev. I'm gonna say the same thing. Keep saying, like, I'll believe the hype when he beats anybody with a heartbeat. I just want to see it. It does sound like a video game monster. But like, I think he's good. I'm just not. I'm always unimpressed until the finish, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you 100%. I'm like, could hardly watch the fight until the finish.
I haven't drank the Kool-Aid yet. I like this guy that he just beat is 1-2 in the UFC. Eric Nolan is 0-1 and just did not looked decent till he didn't. Like,
he took that they both took it on a week's notice, but I'm like, still on short notice. Like,
yeah, like I just give him somebody. Like, they're like super protecting him at this point. Like, and it's not like, I mean, he's 11-0. Like, Malcolm Wallmaker was 10-0. They gave him a tough fight. Obviously, it was on short notice. It wasn't who he was supposed to fight originally, but like, I don't know. Like, let's give him somebody. Let's see what he can handle. You know.
I just think that like everybody just puts so much into he's Hamzat's training partner, and it's like it doesn't matter. And like, I have training partners who are good. I have training partners who suck. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're in the same room together. Like, there's
that doesn't not the deciding factor.
Yeah. I'm like, there's a lot that goes into this, and it's like how you show up in the room. It is how you show up out of the room. There's so much that comes into like who you are as a fighter. How you can perform mentally. I'm like, some people can be an absolute killer in the training room, then they go out to perform and they can't put it together. I'm like, there can be so many different types of like aspects to this fight game. I mean, Islam is absolutely mind blown by how Carlos Prates does it. I've just seen meme after meme about, he's like, I saw him eat Nutella pancakes this week. I don't know, like, I was just so confused. And then he was like, how he smokes cigarettes and fight like this. Like,
no, it's like Carlos Prates is an anomaly. Like, he is an anomaly, and I love it. I just love it. Like, and he's just so confident. Like, he's so confident in his ability to get the finish. Like,
no, I like due to something else. Even just like the showboating he does. He's just a character in general.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm become such a huge Carlos Prates fan. To be honest, I'm like, I haven't been like as high on like Fighting Nerds overall lately, but my like fandom for Carlos Prates just keeps growing. Win, loss, I love that guy.
Yeah, I think like a Prates and Gene Silva, I've been tied to the bandwagon of.
I'm with you. Silva's he's a character. He's so fun. Like, yeah, he's great. He's Kevin Holland Brazilian version. I kind of see that. Imagine Prates versus MVP. Kind of forgot about MVP too. Dude, is he back? Is he gonna stay at 70? Is he gonna go to 85? Do we know?
I think he wants to go where the most fun fights are.
That's fair. I mean, if you can make the weight, like, and like, I'm sure MVP has no delusions about what his UFC career looks like. Like, he's not going to make a title run at either weight class, I don't think. So it's
he is a little bit up there in age too, I know. So I'm like, I think he is just like wants to go where the money fights are, the fun fights. Like, yeah, put on a show for the UFC, and I respect that for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. Not yet. We don't need this fight yet. Like, there's so many matchups. Like, don't eliminate a contender like that right now. Like, we got time. We've got time for this fight to happen. in my opinion. But we didn't even do. We need it. You and I need to like sit down between now and Tuesday and like figure out how to match make for a welterweight division because there's so much going on right now. I don't even know what needs to happen.
Gotta see where the new rankings are at.
That's true. That's true. So on Tuesday, we will reconvene about the welterweight division. Me freaking too, Christian. So much happening at 170. Okay. It's been well over an hour. I think we talked about most of the card, which
just the first fight. The first fight we missed, which was all right. I think everybody's seen a clear victory with Slava Claus.
Yeah, but honestly, Slava Claus had I could have argued he won the fight.
I think he had a very strong third round, and I think that it goes back to that control of like the debate of control because he was controlled the whole time in the first 2 rounds.
I mean, the second round, you got go back and watch that second round again. He was controlled for like part of the second round, but to get back up to your feet and not spend like the rest of the round there, I'm kind of with Sean here. I kind of thought Slava Claus won the last 2. Humor me and watch it one more time before Tuesday and tell me if you disagree with me or not, because I'm definitely curious what your opinion is.
Yeah, I'll definitely go back. I'm it definitely plays into a lot of how the UFC is scoring things. I think I need to watch the round 100%, but I'm like, I thought that it was a lot of control versus when Slava did have his moments, he was doing damage and he was winning those, but I'm like, there was just a lot of control on the opposite side.
Well, and like the other guy just looked so exhausted after that, like after the first round and a half, like it was almost nothing coming back at Slava Claus after that point, you know?
You can tell when it's a non-wrestler trying to implement a wrestling game plan because that's what they like. Obviously, we know Slava isn't great off his back, as we've seen in his last couple fights. Probably had his coaches all camp tell him, we need to take this guy down. We need to take this guy down. We're going to take this guy down. And now you're a non-wrestler going in to wrestle this whole fight and just out of your element.
And bro, I don't know what's wrong with his knees. I know he's getting up there a little bit, but like if your biggest hole in your game is grappling, don't give those guys 4 different things to get a hold of between your ankles and your knees. Like that is a wrestler's dream.
I thought it was hilarious. Joe Rogan, the second he saw that, he was like, oh no, that's not good. He's going to get heel hooked. And then whenever Sean Brady came out with, he had like rash guard shorts on and had knee braces. And Joe's like, oh, that's good. It's going to have traction when he's in his guard. And I'm like,
Joe.
Love these comments.
Anyway, all right, we got to get out of here. It's been a long show already. Yeah, Slava's not. It's a sad story, especially how exciting his fights used to be too.
I know.
Just give him strikers. Give Slava Claus like 3 strikers and let him ride off into the sunset.
I'm like, I've honestly been such a huge fan of Slava until his last little stints. I'm like, it's just been. It's not good to watch him lose, but to watch him win is always fun.
Or go to a draw with Sajikov. That fight was awesome. Anyway, I keep saying we have to go. We have to go. We're done. We love you guys. We will see you Tuesday at probably 1 p.m. It's been kind of, but we'll let you know. We'll let you guys know. We love y'all. See you later. Bye.